All right, here we go. It's Flyers game night. Brian Smith, Jason Myrtetus. The rare 8 o'clock start tonight. And the Flyers and the Blackhawks are the only NHL game being played tonight. And it's a stream game, Bri?
This is correct. It's the new NHL, right?
I'm sure there's a lot of happy people on social media.
There were some people in a boardroom about, I don't know, 7 months ago, looked at the schedule, said, hey, look at that. Those two teams are going to be getting ready to go on a playoff run. Let's put them together, two huge markets. They'll definitely come watch our stream tonight. Nope.
Crickets. Especially the Flyers coming off a back-to-back.
Yeah. It's I'm sure that there's people that know more about this than I do, and I'm sure that they're coming up with all kinds of strategies and stuff to drive whatever you call it on streaming, tune in or whatever.
Yeah.
But I don't think tonight's going to be it. But who knows?
Yeah. Well, look, the Blackhawks are a team that is only 2 points ahead of the Flyers points wise on the season. They've struggled of late. They've struggled all season long. Very similar to the Flyers. They have a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 game losing streak. Then 1-1 in the shootout. Lost 2, 1-1 in overtime, and then lost their last 2 to LA and San Jose, each by a score of 4-1. So they're a team. They pick up Seth Jones in the offseason, give him that monster contract, which will kick in next year. They have Marc-Andre Fleury, and it all just went really sideways for them as well. I think they thought they were going to give one more kick at the can here with Taves and Kaner, but didn't work out. Goals for, they've actually scored less goals per game than the Flyers. 2.59, 28th in the league. They give up roughly the same amount. Flyers give up 100th more, 3.58 to 3.57 when it comes to goals allowed. Let's look at their special teams. It's got to be hideous, just like the Flyers. So power play, they are, it's actually probably not that bad. 20th in the NHL at 19.8%. The Flyers are 32nd at 12.3%. And then PK, their PK has got to be bad. Flyers PK is 24th in the league. Chicago's 27th. So pretty ugly on both sides tonight.
So one of those two things has got the cure for what ails it tonight, right? Either their penalty kill or our power play. I don't know which.
Well, Flyers actually scored a power play goal yesterday, too.
Yeah. It's once in a blue moon these days. It has been a trying year, obviously, for both of these clubs. They've had their shares of issues. The Blackhawks were, basically tripped and fell out of the gate and never got going again. They lost their first 12 games, 11 of their first 12 games, lost their first 9. And then, once they got on a little bit of a run there through November and December, I mean, the best they got after that start, they got in January, got to the point where they were within 3 games of 500, if you will, in terms of wins and losses. I'm going to be struggling tonight because my computer is not cooperating. So, they got to 15, 18, and 5 on January the 15th, and that was probably the best that they had been in terms of wins and losses on their record. And then it's just tailed off again for them. Obviously they had their share of off-ice issues crop up earlier this year, and I'm sure that didn't help in terms of trying to keep focus on the task at hand. It was the task at hand was almost secondary at that point with this particular situation. But it's been a year to forget for them, and for the Flyers, you look at this game, it's great, 2 wins in a row. What's the ramification for winning tonight? I mean, right now the Flyers. If nobody moved around the lottery, Flyers would pick 4th. They win this game tonight. Now they're back to picking 6th again. Again, it's a conundrum. You obviously want to go out and win every game you can, but in the long run, any more wins this week kind of hurt the Flyers. And they're not going to get any lower than 7th because they're 8 points behind Ottawa. 6th is about the worst they'll finish, but it does make you think a little bit looking at the grand scheme of things.
Yeah, I think tonight's one of those. The remaining 3 games are kind of like, okay, whatever now.
Right.
Like, you're at the point now where you beat Pittsburgh. That was like Achilles' last stand. And you go, okay, that was a game to get up for, try and spoil the party and, hurt the Penguins situation. Easy game for veterans and everybody to get up for. Now it's these final 3 games against 3 teams that are lottery teams.
Yeah.
Chicago, Winnipeg, and Ottawa on Friday. And you go, okay, just want to see the young guys continue to play well. Guys like Noah Cates, Bobby Brink, Ronnie Attard, Owen Tippett, and Morgan Frost. And kind of let's just get to the off season at this point. I mean, we're what, 4 days away? Yeah.
And again, there's something to be said for winning some games. And I kind of wonder, does it matter too much to the Flyers that they pick 4 or 6 if they can go into this, off season with these guys feeling good about themselves after a good last week of the year. Obviously, season ends today. A guy like Noah Cates is going to feel pretty good about himself heading the off season, right?
Definitely.
There's other guys out there too that are going to feel good about themselves. So I guess there's a silver lining toward each. But my instinct is that 6th would be fine if that's where they end up. Could drop as low as 8th, I suppose. But having these guys with a positive mindset headed into the offseason probably is going to be more beneficial to this team in the short term than having them lose 3 in a row and maybe move up a couple spots.
Yeah, and lottery luck, you never know.
Yeah.
If you move up, but obviously, one of the most detrimental things to this team, and they're kind of reeling from it still, was lottery luck.
Right.
It was moving up from 13 to 2 and taking Nolan Patrick, because like his fingerprints and the ripple effect of Nolan Patrick are all over this team because of his inability as a number 2 overall pick. And you almost feel like, okay, we can't send him back to juniors. He's got at that top pick and the body he had, you go, okay, he's going to start in the NHL. He had a good half a season in his first year, had a good half a season in his second year, missed the third year, came back, and I mean, he was a dog. And then, I mean, I don't know about his career at all. I just don't know that he's got the belly to be a pro. So, you look at it and you go, that was maybe lottery bad luck that you moved up.
It was, and it's not just that pick either. It's not just the fact that pick didn't pan out. It was the ripple effect that you mentioned in that because the Flyers had Nolan Patrick in the fold, they decided in that same draft to trade Braden Shen.
Yeah.
And that wasn't, the Flyers weren't supposed to miss Braden Shen. Nolan Patrick was basically going to replace him. And then they added, with that pick, they added Morgan Frost, down the line. And that was going to be, again, an opportunity for them to kind of go younger there and recharge, if you will, for the future, past the end of the 2010 decade. And when Nolan Patrick didn't pan out, it wasn't just him that they didn't have. They also no longer had Braden Shen, who's gone on obviously to win the Stanley Cup in St. Louis. But that notwithstanding, 58 points this year, 24 goals, 25 goals 2 years ago in the shortened season. He was headed for more than that. He had 70 points his first year in St. Louis. So all that has, the Flyers have missed that as well.
Yeah, take it a step further. It's not only that you took Nolan Patrick, but imagine if you would have not taken Nolan Patrick and you've got Heiskanen or McCaw.
Right. And that's what that's
even more. Yeah.
Yeah. Just accounting for that. A lot of people look at it and think, oh, well, if we had Cale Makar, this team would be different. But, look at this team if you have both Cale Makar and Braden Shen on it right now.
Yeah, exactly.
And that's not to say that you can't rewrite history. It might have moved on from Shen somewhere else along the line. When they sent him to St. Louis, he was producing. He hasn't fallen off from where he's been producing. But again, they were gonna kind of I don't remember exactly what his contract was, but they're gonna move on from the cap hit and go some other directions. But yeah, that's the basic of it is who they would have had instead. What it comes down
compound.
Yeah.
And then the other part too is, because Nolan Patrick wasn't going to be available, they went out and they signed Kevin Hayes to that deal.
Right.
Because they needed a centerman. We didn't know at the time they signed Hayes that this was a big time protection plan as well, because you weren't going to have Nolan Patrick, who was going to be your second line center at that point, I guess.
Right.
Well, second/third. And you weren't going to have him for an entire season. It's crazy, but we could draw the tentacles in the tree branches, and they all come to the root of Nolan Patrick.
And I suppose too, the other thing that you look at in the whole situation is that, they don't have Braden Shen and they don't have McCarr, Heiskanen, or whoever, but they also, they used that pick that they got from the Shen deal for Joel Farabee. So
yeah.
You have to take Joel Farabee out of the equation, but right now it's jury's still out there. Right now it's trending toward it's a good thing the Flyers have him. They're also waiting to see what comes of Jay O'Brien down the road. He was taken in that draft with their own pick. But there are guys that went later than both of them that have already been impact NHLers at this point in their careers. So. It's always fun to sit there and kind of play revisionist history in your head and think this, that, and the other. But
do the redraft,
And let's not forget too. I mean, in the grand scheme of things, the Flyers showed up at training camp in 2018, and the first day of camp, Nolan Patrick's not available.
Yeah.
And then he wasn't available for. The entire season, if I have my years right. Do I have my years right?
Yeah, that's right.
Okay, so
not 2019, 20.
1920, yeah. So things turned out all right for the Flyers in 1920, but still,
AV's first year didn't have him.
So it is. You're right. It is a bit of a hole left in there from the last time they had that lottery luck.
Yeah. I was talking about this at the rink last night, that Alain Vigneault was hired a week after the Flyers season ended in 2019, I guess it was, right?
Yes,
19. And I mean, just a week after the season. So he was hired on April 15th, 2019. Season probably ended around April 8th, so about a week later. And he became the 21st head coach that quickly. We'll see if things go that quickly here this time around. So the players are going to have exit day on Saturday.
Sunday,
I think Saturday for the players and Sunday for Yo and Chuck Fletcher is what I'm being told. You hearing differently?
Usually they just wait a day because there's usually a event, I think, on Friday after the game, but I have no idea. I'm not really in the loop on that. So
so they'll have exit interviews in the morning, and that'll be breakup day on Saturday because they played home on Friday. And then we'll hear from Chuck Fletcher, and we'll see kind of what his, what kind of terminology he uses, defining aggressive retool or whatever it is. So that's going to be an interesting couple of days. In Flyerland for sure, as we get ready to wrap up this season. And so tonight, Chicago, Wednesday in Winnipeg. They'll come back home, I guess, Wednesday night after the game in Winnipeg. Can't get out of there quick enough. And then they'll take on Ottawa on Friday, and that'll conclude the 82. And the season for the league, I think, ends on Sunday on May 1st with that game against Seattle and Vancouver or whoever. To make sure that all teams get all 82 in, and then the NHL playoffs will begin, and we'll see what these seedings are and everything that goes along with it. But tonight we're going to look at Felix Sandstrom. He is getting the start tonight. Last night, how about Martin Jones last night? 38 shots, 37 saves, and the win for the Flyers gives up just the one goal against the Penguins. Of course, Crosby scored it, but so tonight we're going to look at Felix Sandstrom again. I'm kind of looking forward to seeing the young lad.
Yeah, it's it's been a bit of a long time coming. Some folks wanted to see him a little bit earlier than this, but he certainly is going to get a look here over the rest of this week, and it's I hope that he doesn't necessarily feel any pressure here, but it is kind of a make or break situation for him. I think this week is going to probably go a long way to determining where he is, at least in the short term. for this team or somebody else. If he's auditioning for somebody, whether it's the Flyers or some other.
He's playing for his career.
Yeah. So whether it's and yeah, you're right. It could be as much as it could be as deep as does he go back to Sweden? And stuff like that. He was reportedly contemplating that out of the pandemic, so staying over there. So yeah, it's a crossroads week for him for sure, and it is good, I guess, to some extent, to at least maybe control your trajectory. I'm not saying he's controlling anything directly here this week, but it's a big audition for him, whatever he's got left in this run.
And he's played the 3 games. He's got a .915 save percentage. So, I don't know that he'll get all 3 of these games this week, but I think he'll get 2 of the 3.
Yeah, absolutely. We were speculating that he could get all 3 if they wanted to give him all 3, but I suppose maybe he throws a shutout tonight. That changes the trajectory a little bit, but that would be with the travel and everything. It would be a long week for him, but yeah, they can give him any of the 3 that they want. Basically, is what we're at.
Yep, and he'll get tonight in Chicago. 3.29 goals against average and a .915 save percentage. Chicago leading the way offensively. Guess who? It is Patrick Kane, future Hall of Famer. 75 games, 26 goals, 65 assists, 91 points. About 9 power play goals and 22 power play assists. Wow.
Yeah. He's one of those players that and we've seen a lot of this lately. I think it might start to change the way people start to think about guys at the end of their careers, but there was a point where everybody thought that he was pretty much done, and he's found another gear. And that's happened with a number of players, I think, around the NHL over the past 5 years or so. We saw Jeff Carter last night. I'm sure a while back, a lot of folks, he thought he was done. He ends up with a few more years on the shelf in
36 now, Carter.
Yeah. I was just looking at this today because of Ryan Getzlaf hanging him up this year. He is one of just a handful of guys still active from that incredible 2003 draft. Marc-Andre Fleury being one of them, of course. He was the first overall pick, but Pavelski's still there. Brian Elliott, next to last pick in that draft.
Yeah, that's exactly right.
Dustin Brown is still going in L.A., where Carts used to be. Brent Burns, is he playing?
Yeah, he's still with San Jose. He still looks like he's got a little game left too.
Yeah. Did you know he was drafted by Minnesota?
I did not know that.
He played for Minnesota Wild for 6 years.
Oh my goodness!
That blocked that out of my head.
Coburn was in that draft.
Yeah. There's just the reason I asked who he was playing is because we were looking at this recently. There are a couple of guys.
Parisi too.
They are still active, but they aren't actually.
And we're going to join our radio audience, Brian. We're here on 93.3 WMMR and the Flyers Broadcast Network. Flyers back at it, back-to-back nights. Last night they get the win. They win 2 in a row. They win over Montreal last Thursday. They win last night over the Pittsburgh Penguins, and tonight it's off to the Windy City, Chicago, to take on the Blackhawks as the season is winding down to its timely conclusion, ultimately. And Blackhawks tonight, Winnipeg on Wednesday, and then coming up on Thursday, it'll be Friday rather, the Flyers and Ottawa finishing up the season, and we'll head to the 2021-22 NHL offseason. But Bri, these two teams tonight, Flyers winning back-to-back games. I don't think they've won 3 straight in 2022, have they?
They did it once.
They did, okay.
I could not tell you immediately when that was, but they would match their season high in terms of win streaks with a win.
No, is that right?
It is, yes. And they've only done it the one other time in this run, which is, again, just kind of summing up what the season's been like for this team. It's just been so hard for whatever reason for them to string anything together. But back in December, the 10th, 11th, and 14th, they had that trip out west, Vegas, Arizona, and then came back and beat New Jersey. That was the last time they strung together.
So only in 2022, though, not at all.
In the calendar year, no. Calendar year, no.
Yeah.
That was just this season. But they haven't done it since December, and that's the only time this year they've done it. So, yeah, it's been that's the kind of year it's been, right?
Think about that. How bananas that is, right?
Yeah, that's not where we thought we were going to be here on April 25th, but such is the reality of the situation, unfortunately.
Yeah, and you look like Florida lost yesterday, but they had won 13 straight. I don't know if Claude Giroux is the first player in NHL history to be on a team that loses 13 straight and wins 13 straight in the same season. But
I'm going to guess yes.
Yeah, that's a rare feat right there.
Find me another one.
Yeah, you go unlucky 13, we lose 13 straight, and then you find a lucky 13, we win 13 straight. But then you lose it to that. But Florida on their way to the NHL postseason, and the Flyers right now a point back of the New Jersey Devils. Each team has played 79 games. On the season, Flyers with 61 points, 25, 43, and 11. The opponent tonight, the Chicago Blackhawks, they've also played 79, 26, 42, and 11. They've got 2 more points than the Flyers at 63 points. They're 2-7-1 in their last 10. They've lost their last 2. Flyers are 3-7 in their last 10 and have won their last 2. So what does that mean for tonight? Who the heck knows?
Nope. I have absolutely no idea is what it means, right?
Yeah, pretty much. But we're going to get it to the booth early tonight because it's a stream game on ESPN Plus tonight. So the puck drop is a little earlier than normal. 8:05 puck drop, is it? Is that right?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
So it's an 8:05 puck
or
drop.
8:05, one of the two. Yeah.
It's not 8:07 or 7:07 like it usually is. But Tim Saunders and Steve Coates, they're standing by in Chicago. They've got the countdown to face off, and then that'll be followed by all the first period action. Final 3 games of the season. Flyers puck drop tonight in Chicago against the Blackhawks. You've been listening to Flyers Game Day with Brian Smith and Jason Myrtetus on the BetRivers.com Flyers Broadcast Network.